So my name is Reshma and I live in Boston. I recently completed my master's in global inclusion and social development from the University of Massachusetts, Boston. This program enabled me to develop a strong understanding of social inequalities, power dynamics, and systems of oppression, while also learning how to critically analyze and challenge structural barriers that hinder inclusion and social development. So I have been deaf all my life, and I have been wearing hearing aids since the age of 1. And throughout my childhood, my parents consistently advocated for me so that I would not have to explain my disability. Also, it so happened that my hearing aids were so good that I never felt deaf. In fact, I used to bully other children because I was a very confident and extroverted child. Then I entered my teens, and it was around the same time that we moved to a new country and I joined a much bigger school. I was constantly surrounded by people whom I did not know and I had not grown up with. And they began to ask me, what is that, while pointing to my hearing aids. It was at that time that I started becoming conscious of my deafness and thinking of myself as a person with a disability. After I completed college, I got a job in a field that was not considered a traditional type of employment, that of a sub-editor and reporter. No one in our immediate circle of family members and friends, uh, of, of teachers, doctors, and bankers had ever gone into an unconventional field, that is journalism. I enjoyed interviewing people and writing feature articles till there was a point where my editor asked me to do an international junket. At that time, my father put his foot down. He said it was not safe for a deaf person to travel alone and, stay with strangers. That was my first experience of how attitude shapes my experiences as a deaf person. I could not change his attitude that a person with a disability must be protected no matter what. And along the way, I carried that internalized ableism that I, as a deaf person, must have help, especially in new and unexpected situations. A turning point came when I met a deaf peer who was also from India, the country where I'm from, and she also grew up with the same societal barriers that I faced. She is a scientist in the US. And she told me that only if I handle new and unexpected situations alone, I would learn to think on my own and not depend on other people for help. There was another shift in the way I perceived society's attitudes towards disability, which came very recently. I met a blind scientist who said the problem is that you start to believe what everyone tells you about yourself. You carry it inside you. I understood that if I knew my self worth, I would not let other people's attitudes, their opinions, their assumptions, stereotypes, shaped by their own experiences, I would not let that dictate my perception of myself. It is a learning curve. I'm still trying to undo all those years of internalized attitudes about disability, but I'm getting there. Disability is frustrating, exhausting, and isolating. Of course, there are captions and transcribing apps that have been around for the past few years, but I think we should acknowledge that disability is a spectrum. Intersectional identities must have adequate representation, equitable access must be prioritized, and on the whole, the system, which is still quite binary, must evolve and adapt to the changing times.